I wasn't even thinking of becoming an artist. It was so irrational of a thing to do given my life that it didn't occur to me. I worked in doing industrial design for 15 years here, and then I had that scene when I was 42 where I switched careers. I didn't feel I was in the right place anymore doing what I should be doing, and I didn't really see for a couple of years the light, if you will, about what I actually was feeling inside, because it was not reasonable to stop paying the mortgage when I had 2 little kids and all that. As I did a lot of internal looking and some psychotherapy and explorations inside, I realized I had this really burning passion to do this. Once I got clear, then it was easy to sort of step off the edge of the cliff and just go for it. I sold my shares to my partners, and I went and I started taking classes at the foundry at San Jose State, because they have a great foundry. I'd never been there. I'd been teaching design there for over a period of more than 10 years and never been to the foundry. I was really surprised at what was coming out. I guess I would describe it as abstract modern sculpture, or at least that's the way the world might describe it. For me, it's very much inspired by my experience of observing nature on multiple levels. I think it's always been there since I was a kid. I did a lot of hiking and chasing lizards and just going out into the hills and woods. I feel very awestruck by the beauty of those things, particularly by the scale of the things I saw in Yosemite. Just the sheer size of El Capitan or other huge granite rocks. There's something about that that has a resonance for me inside, that has a quality of spirituality to it. When I started looking at being an artist, it was those things that came forth, those memories and those inspirations inside of me, that got me excited about what I might do in a formal sense as an artist. In the case of a lot of the lacy metal work that I do, I've been swimming for many years, so swimming underwater and looking at how things look through water, looking up at trees and seeing the sky through the trees, but through a foot or two of water, gave me these sort of ethereal, impressionistic visions that I found later coming out in metal forms. I just, for some reason, had this draw to be doing these big pieces in front of buildings. So this piece is called tetrahelix, and it is a geometric form that is built from stacking tetrahedra one on the other. And what it creates is a helical rising form. Even though I had been exposed to it for many years and always had been attracted to it, I didn't have a concept of public art when I started. But I knew I wanted to do big things in front of buildings, and I didn't know why. My wife would say, oh, it's your ego, you know, it's like your male phallic thing, you know, everything you do has to be big, and it's like, why don't you just do something reasonable? I had a long series of years with Google where I was trying to get them to pay for me to wax it, which is a whole process we do. I just through a series of lucky breaks got a piece built. I just started calling architects all over the Bay Area. I went and had a meeting with this firm in Redwood City, DES, and they said, oh, you should talk to the people at ALSA. They're doing a new campus. As part of the campus, Mountain View required them to put art on the street. I called them up, and then she said, oh, you need to talk to the guy's head of facilities. And then he said, yeah, come on by. I said, I'm an industrial designer. Oh, I used to be an industrial designer before I became a facilities guy. So it was one of those things where it just kept falling into place. Then they called me up and said, we're having this competition, and we'll include you in the mix. I ended up winning. I was just amazed. And then I was like, what do I do now? I was sort of wondering, like, is that going to kill the fire? Now, maybe that's all I had. I got my piece in front of a building, you know? And I just felt like it was still happening, so I just have kept following that internal drive. To me, it feels just as much like my art. It's just a different medium, and I can do things I wouldn't do otherwise. Let's say this is a piece that I want to be 20 feet high in front of a building. This was done by me over a period of time where it's just between me and the wall. It's pretty personal. It's like an artist and his easel. So when I get this to the point where I'm happy, I've completed a cycle. In a way, the idea is now out in the world and it's done. Now we're in a new realm when we say, oh, we're going to make it 20 feet and it's going to be the right piece in front of this art center. So it takes on now a new life that's not just between me and this piece of wax. It's going to be going out into the world. That's when the teamwork and all of that comes into play. When you do public art, it's for the public, but it's also built by people. At the scale I'm doing it and the number of pieces I have inside of me that seem to want to come out, it would be prohibitive to try to build it all myself. I don't have to be doing it myself, but I do have to be involved to make sure it comes out true to my vision. But hopefully it gets better through its contact with others, and particularly with other people who have artistic or technical influence that will allow the art to find its true voice, if you will.
If you want to pursue that, I would trim out some of the welds on the inside and see if it can come back. You know what I mean?
I can trust my right-hand guy, Dave Nasler, who's been with me for so long. He knows how to interpret my ideas.
A lot of people think that art should speak for itself. With public art, one justifies what their vision is and why it's relevant to the public at large. And when the public witnesses this piece in that public space, they have that private experience. And there is no explanation any longer. If I can be articulate, it has a chance of being public art. If I can't explain it to a lot of people why it matters to them, it shouldn't be public art, period. It's got to matter to people. It's got to matter to everybody. And it can't just be like, oh, I could see that. No, it has to actually matter to them.
There is an interaction with the community and their particular affection for this particular piece of art and why does it have meaning for them. When the art becomes public, it really is a second life and a much broader and bigger life. Although it still is my art, you know, I feel much more engaged with the world, if you will. I think the life goes on beyond the artist at his easel image, and particularly in the case of public art, into this thing that belongs to everyone.